First, I'm going to share the paper.
Okay, sir.
Right here, I think you can see now the paper here, model paper. Here, normally in your paper contain two sections, section A and section B. You want to answer two questions from one section. Here, having 4 questions each section, you want to answer 2 out of 4. Right, selections there. Right. However, I'm going to discuss all the questions in this model paper. It is not difficult. All the things coming from our syllabus. Right. Here, the first question. All of you can see the question here.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Then,
Yes,
yeah, first one. What is meant by educational technology? Then first question, the second part, explain forms of technologies with an examples. Then describe limitations of technology in classroom teaching. Right, that before moving to the discussion, can get some answers for this question. Right, that what is meant by educational technology, that already we discussed in several times what is about educational technology. Right. You can find the answer from this question to this question by looking at the first slide presentation, our first class there. Right. Here in this presentation, I'm going to remind it again. Technology, here giving the explanation for what is technology, then scientific knowledge to the practical aims of human life, applications of scientific knowledge. Right. Then how you are going to apply these science applications of scientific knowledge in the education, that is called educational technology. Right, that answer you can directly get from this slide. Educational technology is the combined use of computer hardware, software, and educational theory. That's answer, or you can say the educational technology is the scientific applications of scientific knowledge in the field of education. It may be computer hardware, software, and internet, right? That kind of tools used in the education, in the field of education. Right. Here, in one thing, when you are answering the question, that here asking different types of question, that what is mean by educational technology. Here, brief description. Expecting some 2 or 3 lines description. What is mean by that? Explain. The second one, explain forms of technology with an example. Right. If you are finding that word explain, that means you want to give in more description. Right. It may be half a page or 10 to 15 lines in that way. Right. Explain forms of technologies. That can someone remember what are the forms? That's also in the first presentation. You can find the answer for that. Forms of forms of technologies you can find in that way. Right. There are several forms we identified. Also, we should have a description link. That already I passed that description link also. Here, you want to write down in this question, they're asking explain forms of technologies. Forms of technologies. This is a model paper. Therefore, no restriction there. You can answer any forms here. But in the examination paper, you will limit to describe some forms. Right? It may be they are asking what form you want to describe, or they're asking a number, 5 or 4 forms you want to describe there. Right.
Okay, sir.
Here, commonly you can see the television, radio, CD, DVD, all like that. Here also should have some description, right? According to your point of view, you want to explain something, right? Then television, radio, right? In that way, you want to answer, explain forms of technologies with an examples, right? Then describe limitations of technology in classroom teaching, limitations or disadvantages of using technology in the classroom teaching. Here, not difficult one, that there are many kind of right here there are many kind of limitations like signal issues or technical problems, or some people should know how to operate the technology devices in this type of technology devices. In that kind of limitations you want to face when you are using technology in the classroom, right? Then I'm showing the point where having the answer for this question also in the first slide. Refer the slide number 9, slide number 10, challenges of using technology. Here giving some challenges, distract students. Mostly the students are trying to misuse their devices in the classroom. Then require management. That earlier I explained it, need expert help. Most of people still don't know how to operate, how to open different kind of software, right? Therefore, they need to get some expert help to do that. Then lead technical disparity, digital divide, that some people having more devices, that more technology access, but some people around the different locations, they have less number of access to technology. That's a gap between this more and less, known as the digital divide. That's another limitation when you are doing technology, when you are doing online classes or things related in the classroom. Then cost, another point, then less face time. Right? These are the things you want to explain when you are explaining it, that make remember. Put some topic and give 2 or 3 line explanation, right? 2 or 3 line explanation that need, because here again that last one describe, right? Here get some point difference between the explain the 10 to 15 line that expecting, I am expecting. When describe mean at least more than 15 lines, right? You want to need to explain more than 15 lines. Here the limitation, that 3 or 4 limitation, you are describing 3 or 4 limitation mean you want to spend more than 1 page, right? Therefore write down some limitation for the topic and the description, right? That's about the question number 1.
So basically what you're saying is when the word explain or describe comes, you're expecting a very long answer.
Yes, when describe mean you want to need some description answer, right? Maybe 1 page or more than 1 page, right?
Okay, sir.
And then second question, again the questions are mostly direct questions. Then what is meant by electronic broadcasting media? Then second part, name 3 steps used to plan a television based lesson and describe each step using one activity. Here again the similar type of questions. What that mean 3 to 4 lines, right? Here in the earlier question was what here again what is meant by, right? Here only expecting very small answer, brief answer. What is electronic broadcasting media? That I'm showing the place where you can find the answer. The second class, use of broadcast, electronic broadcasting media. In short, EBM. Broadcast media involves electronically and simultaneous sending information containing signals, print messages, and audio or video content. Right? That in other words, we can say electronic broadcasting media means the devices you are using to send in signals, print messages, that various kind of educational materials related to education. These are under electronic broadcasting media, right? For example, you can use television, radio, or digital media, including internet, for example, as a electronic broadcasting media. Right. In that way, you can answer that one. Then
Go.
B question, name 3 steps used to plan a television-based lesson. Here, the name, right? If you are finding the questions like that, something to name or list out, that means no description, no need any explanation, only giving the points, right? Name 3 steps, right? Only 3 line, or in the same line you can put it in separating by commas, right? 3 step. No need any explanation or any description for that. Name 3 steps used to plan television-based lesson. Can remember? Someone can tell me what are the 3 steps? We did that lesson when we did that lesson. We discussed television-based lesson. Right? If you are designing a television-based lesson for your student, right, then you want to follow 3 steps. Right? They're asking what are that? What are the 3 steps? Right? First one.
So preview.
Yes. Preview, then while view, and pause view.
Yeah.
In that case, only the 3 steps. That's the 3 steps we want to mention here. Right? No need to describe it. They are not asking what is preview, what is pause view. But in the next question, describe each step using one activity. Then in that case, you want to describe, right, what you mentioned in the question B. Then you want to take one by one and describe it. Right? First, take it the preview. Then you want to say what is preview. That means the activity you want to do before starting the television-based lesson. And then you want to write down one example for it. What type of activity you can do before starting the television-based lesson. Right. That answer for this question also you can find in the same presentation. This is the second one. Here explain types of TV program, then how to plan TV-based lesson. Right? When you are planning the TV-based lesson, then you want to follow these steps: preview, while view, and pause view. Then you want to go by one. Then first preview before showing the video. Then you want to explain, or you want to decide the things what you want to do, the activity before starting the television-based lesson, right? Here giving some examples also. Then you can introduce new vocabulary to the students that containing in the television, that movie or any program there, right? Or you can ask or you can make a conversation with your students about the content of that video, right? Then before showing it, that we are going to give some idea about what you are going to do, what kind of video you are going to follow, right? That kind of things you want to give your students before starting the lesson, right? These are the activities. You want to, if you like, you can do the same things here, or in your own activity, you can design your own activities also. Right.
Yes,
Then that's it, yeah, preview, then while view. Right. Then you want to mention what is while view. Right. Then what happening during the watching, what type of activities you are going to do during the watching. Right. Mostly the blank fill in, the MCQ type, true or false type of question you are normally use in this period when you are doing television-based lesson. Right. Then at last, you want to discuss about the post view. Right. Here also mention some activities. Yeah, post view. What kind of activities you are going to do after showing the video. Right. Then as a teacher, you can summarize what is in the TV program with your students. Then you can you can discuss the answer. Right? Then these are the things you want to do after showing the TV program. Right. Then look at the next question. Explain radio as teaching aid in ELT classroom. Right. That next session we will discuss about the radio. Right. I think you can get that one also, use of radio. That's the third week. We covered that part. Here introduce what is radio and the features of radio here. Wide coverage, the low unit cost. These are the some basic features of the radio. Because of these features, the radio is very popular among the teachers to design lessons. Then flexible device blind. In that way, you want to remember these features there. Right. Here the question: explain radio as a teaching aid in ELT classroom. Then you want in the question, that explanation that I expect in some explanation there, more than 10 lines, 10 to 15 lines explanation. Then how you are going to use the radio as a teaching aid in your classroom. And then you want to think and write down. Right? Then can someone tell me 1 point for this question? As an answer, explain radio as a teaching aid.
To do some listening, do some listening activities.
Listening activities. That's
conduct some listening activities.
Yes, that one of the common thing. Yes, mostly are using to improve the listening skills. Yeah. Then vocabulary training. Can you hear me now again?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah.
That's some technical problem. That's why I'm leaving from the session. Here we are discussing about the radio. Then you can use the radio in various purposes in your classroom, especially you are using to improve the listening skills of student. Other than you can use radio for training different pronunciation skills or training vocabulary. In that type of activities you can do through the radio. Then you want to think what type of things you can do with your students, then explaining it. Right. Then they are asking to describe the following features of radio: flexible device and blind. Right. Here needs some description. That's why I put the word describe. Flexible device and blind. Then you want to think what is the meaning of the flexible device. The radio we can consider as a flexible. Then also it portable device, right? Blind mean non-visual, right? Only you can hear the audio through the radio. It is not visual form, right? That idea you want to give through this question. Actually, this one no need much explanation. It's a mistake here. Here briefly described, right? Not describe, briefly describe.
Okay.
Right, but the following question is describe, right? Describe 3 pre-listening activities used before starting the radio-based lesson. Right, that similar steps that earlier we identified when doing the radio-based lesson, pre-listening,
while listening, and post-listening.
the same steps here available, then you want to describe it. Right? Pre-listening activities used. Here, 3 pre-listening activities used before starting the radio lesson. Here, concentrate only the pre-listening part.
Only on pre-listening. Okay.
Earlier question, all the step here. Right? Here you want to describe 3 pre-listening activities that you can do before starting the radio-based lesson. Right? Also, you can find the answer for that question. Here, radio-based lesson in that slide presentation. Third B, pre-listening activities. Here you have some pre-listening activities. Then you can follow, you can do one of the one or few of the activities as a pre-listening. That means before starting the listening activity, right? Then you can introduce vocabulary. You want to explain it with example. That's the important, right? Topic discussion. Then make conversation, then brainstorming. Right? In that type of activities, you can do before starting the listening activity. Right. Then look at the next question. Question number 4. List 5 components in call environment. Right. This question number 4. In next lesson, that 4th week, we covered that part call environment, computer assisted language learning. Then can someone tell me the few components that use in the call environment? List out 5. Here the question is list out. That means no need any explanation, only giving the names. Right? Then tell me a few examples for that. In call environment, call computer assisted language learning. Right? Then what are the devices? So component you can find that environment. Can suggest, can you hear me?
So you're asking about the software or?
Yeah, that software also okay. Right? Computer
We
hardware.
can use CD,
Yes,
DVD-ROM.
yes, the type of devices, audio devices, then recording devices. Right?
Yeah.
Then television, radio also you can include there. Then computer or laptop tabs. Right? Then that type of devices we are expecting for that one. Right? Call environment.
YouTube videos.
Devices. Right? Then digital board also another device, digital board. Then the type of then thing can write down the component that you are using for your education, for your teaching process. That multimedia project also another device. Right? List out 5 components in call environment. Then you can write down it. Then second question is regarding the explain the importance of call environment for teachers. Right here, you want to think about or you want to identify what are the importance of call environment for teachers. Here only they are asking the point of view teachers. As a teacher,
We need to act as facilitators.
yes. Explain the importance of call environment, that when you are engaged with your students, then what kind of advantages or importance you can find from the call environment. And especially when you are doing the online classes, that immediately you can give the feedback. Right? Or students feedback also immediately you can get and you can response for that. That one thing, the teacher's point of view. Then teacher can engage with different activities, different kind of digital activities. They are able to using different tools especially internet-based tools. That kind of advantages or importance with teachers if you are doing teaching and learning the call environment. Right? In this question also you want to think and write down, explain that, expect at least 10 to 15 lines. Right, then explain the following types of call programs. I think all of you can remember when we are doing the call environment, we identified types of program that including in the call environment. There are four types. Right? We identified four types, but here they are asking only three. I can remember the call specific software. First one,
Generic software,
and computer
web-based learning program, and CMC programs.
CMC program. What's the difference here? That you want to put the title and give the explanation. Call specific mean the specific software you use in your teaching and learning purpose. Specific software, especially when you are teaching the English language, there are some specific software designed for that purpose. That few names we identified as examples. You want to put these names also. One example is Gamebox. Right? Gamebox is one of the particular software that's specially designed for teaching English. Right? Here you want to mention that type of software, right? Not any teaching software, specially designed for teaching English language. One example is Gamebox, right? That you can find. Yes, that I'm showing the slide presentation relevant with that question. Fourth week one. Types of call program. We identified four types: call specific, generic software, web-based learning. That's the one not discussed in here. Remember the point. What we not discuss in the model paper, sometimes it may ask from your exam paper. Right? Web-based learning program is not discussed in here. Remember that point. Then computer-mediated communication program, the third one. Right. One by one explanation is available. Call specific software, especially designed for English teaching. Here giving some examples: Gamebox, then Open Teacher, and Do Learn Go. Right. In that way. Then about second one, what's general software? Generic software mean how you are going to use the general software for your teaching purpose, right? That means it may be MS Office package software like MS Word, Excel, right? That earlier we identified how MS Word, Microsoft Word you can use for your teaching purpose, right? That Excel also we can use, right? I think I'm showing puzzles. Yeah, I'm showing some puzzles to use in the Excel. In that way, here in this slide presentation, I think available that one also. Yeah, yes, generic software. Use general software in English teaching and learning. There are separate 3 points: word processor, presentation software, and spreadsheet. Here giving some examples also. Right. Then look at the slide presentation to get the answer for that question. Then computer-mediated communication mean what? Computer-mediated. Right, here we discussed that part also. Computer-mediated communication, CMC program. Right, that CMC program is two types: synchronous or asynchronous. The difference between the synchronous, when you are using the synchronous method, immediately you can discuss, giving feedback and get the response from student. The same time as the conversation, you can do your task with your student. But asynchronous method, for example, email, then you have to wait some time period to get the answer. Or you want to give some feedback to your student, that immediately it will not happen immediately. Then you want to wait some period. Then discussion forum and message board are some of the popular category. Then asynchronous or synchronous. Discussion forum and message board. Anything can tell me? Some website time giving their discussion forum.
Synchronous, sir.
Asynchronous discussion forum and message boards, because we should want to wait that immediately after they are posting something, we can't see it. Right? Then after a
We
few
have to
times,
wait for the
we can see.
reply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discussion forum and message board, for example, under asynchronous, online chat is the synchronous method.
Okay.
Right. That way you want to answer that question, computer mediated communication program. Right. Then section B also having 4 questions, but you need to answer 2 questions from this part also. Right. Then look at the first question for section B. Explain the difference between interactive and non-interactive with an example. Right. Here, through an example, you want to explain that it is very important to mention the example for your question. That earlier one also, I'm asking to put some examples. Right? Therefore, here also, through an example, you want to explain what the difference between the interactive and the non-interactive. Then tell me one difference here. The interactive and non-interactive.
Interactive would be through quizzes or it can be through clickable images, whereas non-interactive will be mostly through PDF documents or by
That's the examples.
audio
Yeah.
clips. Yeah.
Non-interactive that always come in the form of printed materials that immediately you can't get the result or feedback from the non-interactive ways, but interactive ways, at once the student are replying through the interactive activities, that immediately you can get the feedback, and you can give the feedback also. Right? That interactive activities you can make through the internet tools like Live Worksheet or Genial. These are some examples you are using to create the interactive. But non-interactive activities you can create through the generic software like PowerPoint or Word or Excel. Right? In that way, you want to explain through the examples also. Right? Then name 4 types of e-learning tools by giving one example for each. Right? That can remember that one also. They are asking name 4 types. Only you want to give the name of e-learning tools by giving one example.
Like LMS and also LMS.
Not elements here.
No, LMS.
LMS, yes. That's one example. That's right, LMS.
Nearpod.
Not near.
Video streaming.
Video streaming also okay. Video streaming, example, Zoom or MS Team. Right?
Yeah.
YouTube.
LMS, that's earlier you mentioned it. LMS is e-learning
Learning
tool. The
management.
example is Google Classroom or Moodle. These are the examples.
So can we take MS Teams here as well?
MS Team.
Yeah.
Yeah, MS Team for the
LMS.
other category. That's actually video conferencing, video streaming. MS Team is okay. Also, you can mention under LMS, right? That's okay. MS Team is a good learning management system. Right? That you can find the exact answer from the, I think, 5th week that I'm going to show in it. The place where you can find the answer for that question. e-learning under preparation of e-learning resource for young learners. Here the answer for the first part, the difference between non-interactive and the interactive. Then e-learning tools, the second one. Here giving the 4 types. Learning management system, LMS, that examples Google Classroom or Moodle. Then virtual learning environment such as Learn, Zoom or Blackboard. Then video streaming like services such as YouTube and virtual instructor-led training, WebEx or webinars. These are the 4 types you want to mention for that question.
Okay, sir.
Right. Then next question, explain how Padlet can be used for English language teaching in the classroom. That Padlet, I gave some experience how to create the Padlet, right? That type of things we practically and demonstrate how to do that.
Yes.
Here they're asking to explain how Padlet can be used for English language teaching in the classroom. Right? Can you give me some idea about how you can use the Padlet? Padlet normally
Use it as a interactive question and answer based activity.
Yes, Padlet is one of the interactive way to engage with your students, right? Then if you want to get some idea about the topic, right? Then if you want to discuss, if you want to carry out a discussion with your students, then you can use Padlet, right? Then whatever the things write down in the Padlet by the student in their point, then all of the things you can see on your own computer. Not only you, your other students also share the ideas. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. These features you can use for teaching English. Right? That reading, then you can improve the reading skills, then listening skills also. Right? Then you want to point out what kind of skills also develop using the Padlets.
Yes.
Okay. Then question number 6, compare the difference between formative and summative assessment. I think formative and summative, the difference between the formative always you are doing within the classroom. At the end of the lesson, you always check your teaching is okay or not by asking some questions, short questions, right? Those are called
It happens
formative.
during while learning period.
Yeah, it may be in the form of oral questions or
Yes.
short
Quizzes.
fill in blanks like questions. But summative is organized, more than organized. At the end of the semester or year, you are doing the summative test, right? Term test,
Term test and year-end test.
year-end test are the example for summative part. Right. Then they're asking about the role of ICT in assessment by considering the following factors. When you are doing the ICT, when you are using ICT in your classroom for the assessment, then you want to remember, concentrate on these factors. Why, especially why we need ICT for the assessment. Then delivering lesson, then built up assessment, storage files and data and reporting progress. Then you want to explain your answer using these 4 topics here, 4 factors, right? That meaning of these 4 factors that I'm going to show in it again.
Construction, delivery, storage, reporting.
Yes. And you want to get the meaning, right? Explain the meaning also.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
I think 6th week 1, I'm going to show in online assessment. Right. Right here. Role of ICT in assessment. That's 6th this one. Fifth slide, that one. Construction, delivery, storage, and report. And then you want to explain ICT. By using ICT, your assessment should be built up. Construction. Right? Normally, you can use Google Quiz or Flexi Quiz. That earlier I demonstrate how to use Google Quiz and Flexi Quiz to build up the assessment. Construction. Then delivery. Once you construct your assessment, then you want to think about how to deliver it, right? Then through a direct link or email or another way to deliver your construction, your built up assessment to with your student. Then think about how to storage it, right? Normally, if you are doing creating assessment using Google Quiz or Flexi Quiz, then they are allowing to store it in the web servers. Right? Therefore, no need to put any physical devices to store your assessment. But if you are creating the assessment using the general software like PowerPoint, Excel, or similar type of software, in that case, you need physical devices to store. Right? That's the storage. Then reporting, how you are going to report or maintain in progress, right, with your students. Right? These are the points you want to answer for that question. Explain the role of ICT in assessment by considering the following factor: delivering, built up, storage, and reporting. Then next question: explain advantage of computer assisted assessment for both teachers and students. Right. Here, you want to meaning of the computer assisted assessment, and also you want to describe the advantage for both teachers and student. Right. Then you can get more features. Here I'm going to showing what is computer assisted assessment, the online assessment, the same lesson. Here explain what is computer assisted assessment and application of computer to assessment process, including delivery and capture of responses marking by either computer or human marker. Right? That computer related technology, how you are going to use computer related technology for your assessment. That simple word, simply we can say it, right? Then computer related equipment you can use for deliver your test or capture your student responses, then marking your responses, student responses, right? This to do this kind of things, that mainly we can use the computer related devices, that is called CAA. Then computer assisted assessment, you can develop, you can identify it as a stages, and then supporting students with the assessment, then assessment event, then examples. So traditionally how you do that, also you can find these things in this table, right? How the CAA doing it and how traditionally do it. Then you want to remember this point. Then assessment event, normally the assessment event you can do using CAA, using group work or online quiz. But in the traditionally, always you want to gather it in the classroom and classroom or exam centers. Then marking and feedback production. If you are doing the computer related things, then electronically you can do it, or some kind of machine like OMR, optical mark readers, you can use for marking purposes. Traditionally, always the traditional paper marking centers you want to build up to mark the papers. Then record keeping, then think about how you can keep recorders, then store and retrieve, then file or web servers, then computer memories, so such hard disk you can use for record keeping. but traditionally you need large rooms, cupboards or racks to store the your data and information. Right. These are the things you want to explain, and you want to identify separately what the teacher advantages, the teacher point of view and the student point of view. The things commonly you can find it through these tables, but you want to separate it, what teacher advantages and student advantage, because the question asking write down the advantage of CAA for both teachers and students. Right? Therefore, you want to separate it. What are the advantage for teachers and what are the advantage for students?
Okay, sir.
Right. Then look at the next question. Question number 7. Briefly explain how MS Word can be used to improve English language skills. Then second question, explain 3 online tools that can be used to build up assessment. And C, discuss an advantage of using ICT in assessment. Right, that's a general question. Normally not concentrate in one lesson. Different lessons, differently I'm taking the question from different lessons. Right, then first one, briefly explain how MS Word can be used to improve English language skills. Right, tell me one example for that.
Through MS Word, children can learn new vocabulary, the meanings, because there's thesaurus, you can find out synonyms.
Yes, that kind of things you can do, that you can develop the students' vocabulary using the spelling check feature. Then you want to mention the facility also, right? Then review facility you can use for check your student responses. That earlier I explained it, how to use the review, right? Review facility in the Word. And that kind of facilities you want to point out to improve the English language skills. Then explain 3 online tools that can be used to build up assessment. Right? Then
Word wall, Genial.
yes, word wall. Then if you are you want to explain about something about the word wall also, the type of questions you can design through the word wall, right? Then how the word wall activities you can deliver with your student, right? That type of thing you want to explain. The one example is word wall. Then Kahoot also another example. If you want to create the game-based assessment, then Kahoot, you can use the Kahoot, or quiz.com is similar kind of
Genial, sir?
Genial, another example. If you want to create clickable images or infographics, then the best tool is Genial. Right? Then Google Quiz also another example. Right? Then FlexiQuiz. Right? These are the common example you are using to create the assessment.
Okay, sir.
Right? Then discuss an advantage of using ICT in assessment. That's not difficult question, right? You can think and write down advantage of using ICT, that speed feedback. Then you can do the same test for large number of students. Right? In that way, kind of advantages you can think and write down for this question.
Okay, sir.
Right. Then next question regarding the explain the structure of online lesson plan, and only 2 parts in this question. Design an online lesson plan for the topic lesson part of body. Right. And this is a model question. Therefore, you want to answer the full. You want to give a full answer for this. Explain the structure of online lesson plan. Then can remember the structure. The initial things like topic, units, then competencies and level of competencies. Then the most important thing is the outcome or objectives. Then you want to write down the objective in 3 domains: cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor.
Got you.
Then after giving the initial things, then you want to put the introduction part. And the introduction, you want to mention how introduce your lesson with your student. What are the things, what are the activities you are using to introduce the lesson, right? Then you want to mention that part under introduction. After introduction, lesson development. The lesson development you can do in several steps, right? Then you want to explain the steps. It may be 3 to 5 steps. At least you need 3 steps under lesson development. Then 3 to 5 steps you can use there. In the lesson development, in that part, you are going to give in the theory, right? The lesson, you are going to teach the lesson in the under lesson development, right? Here also, sometimes you are using the presentation or YouTube video, again the images or clickable images, right? Or live worksheet activities, right? Whatever the things you are using under lesson development, you want to mention that.
Okay, sir.
Excuse me,
Right.
sir.
Sorry.
Excuse me, sir. Now, for the exam, if you are making the lesson plan
Yes.
and mentioning that we are using a live worksheet for a particular stage, should we prepare the live worksheet as well?
Yes, that in this model paper that you have time, that no time limits, then you want to say the full answers for that. But in the exam paper, you have time limit. Therefore,
Yes.
the question not like that, right? It's some limitations there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
So how
after
long will the
this,
paper be?
2 hours.
How
right?
long?
2 hours. Yeah. Explain the structure that after lesson development, then you want to make a summary. After that, make the assessment, right? Evaluation and feedback, right? I think you can remember our structure, then look at the structure, and I can show it in the last session, I think. Yes, online teaching lesson plan. This is the presentation that related with that question. Object under lesson planning steps. Objective writing, introduction, development, evaluation, and feedback, extended work. Right? You want to design your lesson plan under these topics here. Then go through this slide presentation. Then you can get more things. This outline, the first thing is outline. The basic information about the lesson you can find under outline.
Sir, is it possible for you to send it to our group, sir, so we can practice it during the weekend?
For the
The model
lesson, lesson.
Okay, model paper.
No,
sir.
I'm asking you to send us the model paper to our WhatsApp group, sir.
Yes, you can discuss it, right? That time.
Not only that, sir. Not
Yeah.
only that, sir. Please, if you can send us the recording as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today's
You
recording.
send it, right? Yeah.
Because generally there's a delay when you send it to the college, there's a delay for the upload. So if you could just directly post
I'm
it.
trying to upload for your WhatsApp group.
Yeah. Yes, sir, please.
Even, sir, this 4th lesson also, we didn't get the PowerPoint presentation. We got only
Fourth-
the PDF, I think.
Fourth
In the
lesson?
LMS, it's not, yeah, 4th PowerPoint
But I
presentation is
already
there. Not,
uploaded the recording, all the recording for your WhatsApp group. Then
yes,
also,
sir, we got.
I'm again upload this slide presentation and the PDF note, right?
Please, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Right, okay. Then look at the presentation here to identify the lesson structure there. Then according to that structure, then you want to design a lesson plan for the following. The topic is given here. parts of body. In the examination paper, also the topic is there. According to the topic, you want to do something, not design whole lesson, but the part of lesson you want to design there.
Okay, sir.
Right. That's the way. The similar type of question you can have in your exam paper. Then any questions? We have time that I'm using that time to do one activity with you. That earlier I mentioned the game-based activities you can do through the internet, like using Kahoot or quiz.com. These are the most popular tools that you can use with the internet to create the game-based activities. Right here, I'm going to using the quiz.com to do one of the activity with you. Right here, the session will be end now. Then you can link it again using the same link.
Excuse me, do we have to write the paper or the online one? The
Sorry?
assessment? The assessment will be an online one or a written one?
No,
We
not
have
online, right? The assessment, your final exam is not online, right? Your university will
Right.
provide the exam papers and then collect your answers. Right
Okay,
here, the session will be end now. Then you can